Hi, my name is John Olszewski. I'm the Senior Director of Product Management. I lead a team that covers all of the EBS service products. And today we're going to be talking about Oracle's EBS's new multi-platform mobile field service application, as well as covering the roadmap for the EBS service products. Let's look at the agenda. The first thing I'm going to do is cover Oracle's overall mobile direction. Next, I'll talk about what's happening with EBS mobile field service, including talking about how it's been rolled out in our internal Sun hardware field service operations. Next, I'll give a brief recap of what we've released in 12.1 and 12.2, focusing on 12.2, which was released last fall. I will then go into the roadmap for the service products, and finally I'll finish up showing how all of the complete service flow can be done with our new HTML UIs and no forms. In the marketplace today, we're seeing three types of mobile applications. What we call web apps, and these are apps where are accessed through a browser like Safari. The local browser governs access to the local storage and devices. This code is highly reusable and it can be used on many platforms and very portable. The other types of apps we're seeing are native apps. These are what typically you download from the Apple Store or the Google Store, and they're optimized for a specific operating system and device. They provide direct access to local storage and device services like the camera and barcode scanners and so forth. Unfortunately, this type of application is very difficult to port to other platforms and basically has to be rewritten for every operating system and form factor. The third approach is what we call hybrid mobile apps. And these are developed on HTML5 and they can run on all devices that support HTML5. What this allows us to do is to reuse the business logic across multiple platforms, including iOS, Android, and Windows. What Oracle has done is we've taken our ADF Mobile, we've built a product called ADF Mobile, which is a hybrid multi-platform technology. ADF is a technology we're using for our Fusion apps, and mobile is an extension of that so that we can bring enterprise applications to mobile devices. It supports multiple devices and channels and has security at every layer of the structure. In EBS now, in mobile field service, we've had mobile applications for the last 10 to 12 years, and those have been based on the Windows platform, Windows Pocket PC and regular Windows operating systems. Now we have a product that can run on iOS, Android, and Windows. It has seamless integration. We can do schedule management, execute field service tasks, order, receive, return parts. It also allows personalized user views, access to social networks, and of course, very important device integration for maps, GPS, the camera, and barcoding, which are all very important in a field service environment. Here's some screenshots of our new smartphone application that was released last July. As you can see, it has this is a version of iOS, but it also runs on Android and looks very similar. We're also working on a tablet version. The tablet version will have the same back-end code and business logic, but obviously is optimized for the tablet screen size. As you can see here, we're using the card paradigm, but we're also, of course, using maps and all the other technology available in the tablets. Here's the architecture, the technical architecture for the new solution. And you can see here that there's a native container for each device and operating system that's provided by the ADF, and we code the HTML5 to work within there. I think the main difference you'll see here from our other previous mobile architectures is there's no Oracle Lite. We're using web services to access the enterprise, which has proven to be a much more robust and scalable way to do synchronization between the mobile device and the enterprise. With Oracle Lite and our older applications, there was always a lot of trouble configuring it and managing the Oracle Lite as well as the mobile applications themselves. In this slide, we're showing that EBS is going heavily into mobile. Besides the EBS mobile field service and mobile expenses, which have already been released, we're working on a variety of other applications. For smartphones, we're working on approvals, time cards, absence, iProcurement, projects, and so forth. In addition, we're planning a series of tablet apps including procurement, quality engineering, mobile field service, which I mentioned earlier, service manager, which is also another thing my team is working on. This would be for a customer service manager to have offline access on their mobile device to the open service requests and escalations and so forth. Now let's talk about what's happened at Sun. In December of 2010, Oracle went live with Orion, Moss, and Oracle Field Service. This was 1 year after the Sun acquisition. Obviously, when we bought Sun, we became a hardware company, and with that means we have to do field service. We replaced all of Sun's legacy call center and field service applications in 73 countries. We standardized and automated field service dispatch across all the geographies. We built a new dispatch center in Costa Rica for North America because North America had been a very decentralized operation, and we want to centralize the whole dispatching and scheduling process. We implemented the EBS Advanced Scheduler with its distance and route optimization capabilities, which utilizes spatial data to minimize travel time and distance. In the mobile area, at this point in time, back in 2010, we decided to roll out our wireless application on whatever device they want to use, as long as it has a browser. We decided at this point in time we did not want to implement one of our store and forward applications as we were coming out with a new product. A little bit later, in the fall of 2011, we rolled out our spare part management to over 600 warehouses around the world. As of last fall, we went live with our new multi-platform ADF mobile application on Android smartphones. All 1,500 field engineers are now using this application. They moved over from the wireless and some of the other solutions we had. Right now, the engineers are averaging 1.7 tasks per day. These tasks can be highly complex and time-consuming, and the engineers often have to collaborate with technical people at headquarters to get these issues resolved. The way we implemented it, for each engineer, they had 1 week of training, 1 week of sandbox time where they could play with the application, and in the third week, they went live. We scheduled this into 14 groups, and the groups were distributed around the world. So each group had engineers from Europe, Japan, North America, and Latin America. Each region had a supporting set of super users that also worked on the user acceptance test and pilot. So we were able to implement around the world all at the same time instead of going country by country. Some of the benefits that we've received in our Sun hardware business from the new multi-platform mobile field service solution is it enables real-time updates even when there's no network connection. The old problem with the old wireless solution is that when the technician lost connectivity, he couldn't do his work. Now we have a solution where he can do his work even without network connection. We have a single tool now that replaced 3 applications. I mentioned the wireless application they were using, but they were also using our tech portal, which is a connected OAF application, and an email command system that we built. They had the email commands back when they were working for Sun, and we brought that functionality forward and productized it. But now they're happy with the new multi-platform, and they no longer use these other tools. The users have seen significant improved usability, and there was little change to the process flow required. So very successful implementation. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about what we did in R12, focusing on 12.2 as that was released last fall. As you can see from this diagram, there's a lot here, but a couple of very important things to note. The first one is that we are still enhancing 12.1.3. 12.1.3 is a release where many of our customers have landed. It's kind of like the new 11.5.10, and therefore, since we have so many customers upgrading to 12.1.3 and rolling it out, we're continuing to do enhancements for big companies like NCR and Huawei. You can also see that there's another line below that, which is the 12.2 line. So 12.2 came out last September, and 12.2.3 came out in December of 2013. So now we are developing on 2 different tracks, though everything we do in 12.1.3 does get forward ported to 12.2 at some point in the future. The big thing that came out in 12.2 was the online patching, and that's the major feature that's very important to service customers, where we can apply patches now without bringing down the system for more than just a few minutes. Another interesting thing that you see on this slide is that we are doing some of the new applications that will run both on 12.1 and 12.2. We're doing Endeca extensions. Endeca is an in-memory analytics tool that Oracle acquired, and we're building content for EBS service. So in my area, we came out with a field service Endeca application, and now we're just about ready to release one for customer service. And both of these applications will run on 12.2 or 12.1.3. Same strategy we're doing with the mobile apps. Our new mobile multi-platform field service applications runs on 12.1.3 or 12.2. And that's a similar strategy we're having with all the mobile applications. They'll run on both 12.1.3 and 12.1.2. I'm not going to cover these in detail. This is when we say Oracle Service here, I'm meaning all of the customer service products, iSupport, teleservice, email center, scripting, and so forth. As you can see in the 12.1 time frame, 12.1.1, 12.1.2, and 12.1.3, we did quite a few enhancements in this area, which I don't have time to cover in this presentation. I'll focus on what we came out with in 12.2 last fall. So in the area of teleservice, we've been doing a lot of effort to replace our forms with more modern HTML UIs based on the OAF technology stack. In this area, we're very close to having all the functionality we have in forms into the HTML products. Some of the things highlights here, we have a new customer profiles dashboard region. We now have an HTML universal work queue. We have full integration to our scripting product now from our HTML customer service UIs. Email center integration now for outbound as well as inbound emails. And also the heavy backbone or logic features like duplicate checking, contracts entitlement, service request assignment now have all been brought over into our HTML UIs. This slide here shows you, just continues the list of all the enhancements we've done in our HTML UIs to close the gap with the forms. Another thing I'd like to bring note though here is the bottom of the screen. Service costs posting to EBS projects accounting. Our customers and our customer advisory boards for many years have been asking us to integrate service with Oracle projects. Very often they'll have a project that may last for many months, but they want to execute different tasks in the field service area against that project. So now we have the ability to tie the project to the service request and post the costs that have been debriefed back into projects so that all the accounting can be done in a single place. A few other things we did in 12.2 in the service area, we improved our automation by allowing automatic task creation and automatic launch of workflows based on status transition rules. So if a service request goes from a new status to a diagnosed status or a diagnosed status to a field service execution status, we have the ability to automatically create tasks and launch workflows. We think this provides a great deal of flexibility for customers to design a service solution that matches their particular flows and requirements. Another thing we did was we have always had this charges UI. We brought it over into HTML. And charges UI is used for two basic purposes. One for billing for field service and depot repair. But the other thing that the charges UI can be used for is charges logistics, or service logistics as we like to call it. This is for doing exchanges, advanced exchanges, RMAs, and so forth. But the sourcing for parts for a shipment, replacement part, was always manual. Now we have the ability to access our very advanced parts search UIs so that the user of the charges UI who's doing the advanced exchange can source the parts from manned warehouses, unmanned warehouses. We have distance parameters, and we have a wide variety of search criteria that the user can use to find the correct part to ship to the customer. Another thing we did in service in 12.2 is improve our knowledge management capabilities. We now have knowledge management search capabilities, fuzzy search, cinnamon search, and so forth. Another thing we did in 12.2 is we came out with a new service task UI. The previous versions of our HTML solution used a generic task UI that did not have any of the service logic or capabilities put in it. This UI has all of the features of the service request task tab in the old service request form. It allows us to access hours, do customer confirmation, and so forth. So now all of the features we had in the old Service Request Form Task tab are available in a Service UI in our HTML. Moving on into the field service area and Scheduler, Dispatch Center, and Spares, you can see here that we did quite a few enhancements in the 12.1 years. And we've moved on to 12.13 Plus and 12.23, where I'm going to cover some more details. A lot of the things we've done in what we call 12.13 Plus have been for our internal Sun business and other customer escalations. We've done things like scheduler web services to build integrations to third parties. Some of our customers use a different call center application and use service on the back end and wanted web services. We can do mass unscheduling of tasks. We can ship parts now to third-party addresses and drop locations. We allow the technician to also change the ship method and accept the task and automatically book the order corresponding to that. And one of the really important things we do, it's behind the scenes, but we support rescheduling tasks with parts orders. This is a very complicated process, so when someone goes into Scheduler and reschedules a task to a different technician, if there was a part order associated with that task, now we update the part order to ship it to the new technician, or cancel the order, or do whatever is appropriate given the situation. In 12.2.3, we've brought forward these enhancements from 12.13 Plus. We've also done some things with our NavTech data. NavTech data is used for scheduling. It's spatial data. Now we move to the Oracle data format. We used to have our own proprietary format, so now we're more standard. We've also done quite a bit of work in the area of external repair execution. External repair execution is a module in our spares management product that manages the complete process of outsourcing repairs to third-party vendors. And that process is used here at Oracle quite extensively for many thousands of parts every month. Back in the field service area, I'm not going to cover too much here. The way these slides are organized, on the left we have our offline solutions, and that's what I'll focus on. In the middle section we have our online portals, which is our administrator portal or technician portal or third-party portals. And on the right is the wireless solution I talked about earlier. So back in 12.1.1, we were using the Store and Forward Windows laptop, and we were partnered with the Marines to build quite a few features so that they could use these laptops out in the field for both ordering logistics and also for executing service in the field. In 12.1.2, we partnered with NCR to work on our Pocket PC Windows mobile solution, and we did quite a few enhancements there for the NCR customer implementation. In 12.1.3, this was the period when we went live with Oracle Sun Field Service, and here we built an offline email application with 16 seated commands. They had this in their legacy Sun implementation, and they loved it, so we decided to build it and productize it. In 12.1.3 Plus, we were very active. We're still enhancing our Store and Forward laptop, our Windows laptop. We have about 13 customers going live with it on 12.1.3, some very large customers. And so we continue to support that platform. We've added things like signature capture, a field service report, ability to order parts using special addresses, and so forth. And we're continuing to do enhancements in this area as it's a very important product for many of our customers. In the email application, we added some spares commands. But the big thing we did in 12.1.3 Plus, as I've mentioned earlier, and one of the focuses of this presentation, is our new multi-platform mobile field service solution. And we brought this out first on 12.1.3 so that it could be implemented in our internal Sun business, but obviously it also works on 12.2. Some of the things that we have in there, we tailored this to our Sun implementation. We have a task list and detail page. We have full debrief of travel, labor, and materials. The technician can use this application to source and order parts. It can do real-time receiving. At this point in time, when we came out with 12.1.3, we had only a manual syncing capability, but as of about 2 months ago, we now have automatic syncing. So anytime an update is done on the enterprise or done on the remote handheld device, the automatic sync takes place, so the technician doesn't have to worry about hitting the sync button every so often. We have trunk stock support for barcode scanning, and of course maps and driving directions with our integration to the maps. Moving on to 12.2, we're continuing again to enhance our laptop in the mobile field service multi-platform, which I already covered. Looking at our roadmap, what we have planned for the next 12 months. So the big thing we have planned in the next 12 months is our new HTML Dispatch Center and Scheduler UIs. This is the last area of our product to be moved over from Forms to HTML, and that product is ready to go. It just has some technical glitches, and it should be released very shortly. Another thing we have coming out in the next 12 months is a new Spares Planners desktop in HTML. The current form is very small, and when you're working with lots of parts and lots of warehouses, it's very difficult to use. The new HTML version takes care of bigger screens, as most planners use a big screen, and will be much more productive. Some other things we're doing, we're continuing to build out our customer service UIs. There's a few things missing there, like rich text notes, and we should have all of that completed in the next 12 months. We're continuing to do improvements on usability in the portals and wireless areas. For techs who, one of the things we have is we have customers that debrief many parts and order many parts, maybe up to 100 on a particular task. So we're optimizing our spares and mobile UIs for these large volumes of customers. In the mobility area, we're continuing obviously to enhance our new mobile ADF. We call it phase 2. We're also extending it for tablets and laptops, as I talked about earlier. That's very soon coming out. Another area that we're working in with one of our development partners is bringing estimates, invoices, and payments to the mobile device. In the past, most of our customers have been business-to-business customers, where the technician really didn't need to do the invoice when he was on site. An invoice could be generated later and mailed to the customer. But now we're moving into the business-to-consumer space, and in that case, you really need to give the customer an estimate, an invoice, and take payment when the engineer is on site. So this is one of our big projects working on with a development partner, and should be available in the next 12 months. In the area of Endeca, we're continuing to improve our field service and spares Endeca solution, but we're also going to be releasing our customer service application that I mentioned earlier in the presentation. In the area of integration, Oracle has acquired a new company or product called Inquira, which is a very state-of-the-art knowledge management system, and we're coming out with integration to that, as well as to our existing knowledge management solution. We're also improving our integration with CTI, computer telephony integration. Back in the Forms technology, we had a very robust solution, but it's been a little bit challenging doing that with our new OAF pages, but we have that ready, and it should be coming out very soon. In the area of optimization, one of the things we're doing in our scheduler is technician load balancing. Though it may not always be the optimal solution, some of our customers would rather have us dole out the work more evenly among the technicians, even if it means a less than optimal schedule. So we're providing that option. It will be used by Oracle and several of our big customers as soon as we have it ready. Another thing we're doing is improvements in the way we manage shifts and schedules. So one of the most important things when you're doing scheduling is you have to maintain the technician's calendar. When is he working? When is he not working? And we're doing a variety of UI improvements to make it easier for dispatchers and managers to keep these schedules up to date. Moving beyond the next 12 months, we are also working on a new HTML contact center. We have a very powerful Forms contact center today, and we're going to be replacing that with a contact center based on the ADF Fuse UI paradigm. Let's see what else we have. We're working on our email center product and agent productivity enhancements. In the mobile area, we're going to come up with a service manager's application on a tablet. So the service manager, or customer service manager, when he's out on the golf course or wherever, can stay in touch with what's happening back in the office as far as escalated service requests and so forth. We're also working on integrating with the Oracle Social Network and chat integration. A lot of our customers now are demanding that we have good chat integration, not only for customers, but also between field technicians and engineers back at headquarters that are helping them. As far as integrations or optimization, we're working with one of our big customers on third-party capacity-based scheduling. So they outsource a lot of their work to third parties, and they need to know how much capacity each of the third parties have. What else do we have? Multiple products and problems on a service request. So today, on a particular service request, a customer can only really have one problem and one product, and we've seen this in many of our customer advisory boards where they want to be able to have the customer call in and report multiple problems, but still only have one service request to manage through that life cycle. Another thing we're trying to do is uptake what's called MOAC, multi-org access control in the service products. That's something that exists in most of the rest of EBS, and we've had our customers ask us to put that level of security into the service products. A few other areas that we're working on: tools management. We want to be able to track tools just like we do service parts, although of course they don't get consumed, they get reused. But tools management is a very important item for a lot of our field service customers. And then in the area of warranty, we see warranty on two sides: tracking supplier warranty and making sure that when a part fails, if it's still under warranty to the supplier, that warranty is recovered. We also want to be able to allow partners to make warranty claims. Typically, partners do work on behalf of the OEM or the service provider when products are under warranty, and they want to get reimbursed. So we're working on a solution for that. Another thing we're looking at is advanced pricing in our charges module. Our charges model today uses basic price lists and contract discounting capabilities, and we've had quite a few customers ask us to add the full advanced pricing capabilities into the charges module. And finally, one of the things we're doing for our internal Sun implementation is we're adding calendars for shipment methods. So certain shipment methods are only going to be available on certain days of the week. For example, emergency courier shipment may be available on the weekend, but regular UPS or DHL shipment is not available on the weekend. The last thing we're going to look at here is now how the complete service flow can be done in our new HTML UIs. I'm going to go through a flow here: call, intake, and triage, and then service execution. And we'll see how every step in the process now can be done without using any of the forms. First you see here is the telephony piece. The agent signs in to the telephony and puts in their phone number. Now they can get a screen pop and create the service request. So if the customer enters a serial number in the IVR, that serial number will be used to retrieve customer and product data and automatically load it into the screen pop. Now the agent is on a nice HTML page here instead of the form, as you can see, and he creates the rest of the service request. The agent gets the service request number when he hits save, and then can communicate back to the agent to the customer on the phone. Now the two-tier agent works the service request. Say there was a tier 1 agent that took the call and created the service request. Now maybe we have a tier 2 agent here. They can look at the new universal work queue and pick up their work and do the diagnostics. Once they get into the screen, they have all the access to knowledge management, and they can go ahead and diagnose the service request. Here you see the access to the knowledge management. In this scenario, the agent decides to dispatch to a field service technician. So they create a task, a field service task, and then they bring up this, they create a part requirement here, and then they bring up the scheduler UI to actually pick the technician that's going to go on site. And if they have a customer on the phone, they can tell them the time, or we have notifications where an email can be sent to the customer to let them know when the technician is going to show up. Now we've moved over to the field service side. Now we're looking at the technician portal, which is an HTML UI that the technician can use. But this looks very similar to what we have on the laptop, so the technician could do this offline or in connected mode. The example here is in the connected mode. The technician accepts the task. Then the technician jumps into the receiving screen to receive the part that was shipped. And once he executes the repair, they come to the debrief screen to record the travel, the labor, and the parts that were used. And finally, the technician completes the task and sends which automatically triggers the billing process. Now we have a charges UI in HTML, so the administrator back in the district office or at headquarters can take the debrief information and generate the invoice. One of the things that's in our roadmap that we didn't show here is our dispatch center. Okay, so we're building a new dispatch center. You can see that it looks much different than the forms. It has embedded analytics, has much better navigation, makes use of the full screen. So this is in our roadmap. The rest of what I showed you, the complete service flow, is already available, and this is planned for the next 12 months. As you can see here, the Gantt chart is much nicer than what we have today in the form. The plan board view, very nice maps, which looks great on a big monitor. We also have a scheduler UI today in HTML, but is not a full featured UI. This one here has all the features of the form, including all the complicated preferences that whoever's doing the scheduling can adjust. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you very much.